Welcome to She Blaze, where we're bringing you cannabis culture from a woman's point of view. And as always, here to elevate the cannabis industry. I'm one of your hosts, Ice Dawson, cannabis socialite.
And I am Dasheeda Dawson, the weed head.
Hi, sis. Hi, sis.
Hey, sis.
On today's episode of She Blaze, Texas is still with the bullish. Illinois increases cannabis but restricts hemp THC. And in Ohio, hemp companies are fighting back. Let's light it up.
Okay, well, we got to start things off with the high of the week. And this week we are combining high of the weeks. If you can't guess it, if you're watching us live and you don't see that blue and that orange, know that our high of the week is what, Ice?
Nixon 5.
Hey, shout out to the Knickerbockers. Okay, I don't think I ever thought I would ever say that in my life. Growing up in, Brooklyn, East New York, everybody for the most part was a Knicks fan. I can't say I was because I was a Michael Jordan fan, so I will stay true to that. I'm not a bandwagon jumper as a baller, but I have loved the way that they have been representing the city, representing the state. They're scrappy. They're doing the damn thing. They're multicultural, which is New York as well. And overall, it's just been a whole vibe, except for, game 3 when the city kind of shut down. But other than that, Nixon 5.
Period. Nixon 5. My dad would be dancing in the streets, super happy. They haven't won a ring since like the 70s. So, some people have waited their whole lives to win rings, to see this win them ring. We also have nothing but family members that are Knicks super fans. I mean, like Knicks bomber jackets from like the 80s. Okay. Like everyone I know is a Knicks fan. So yes, Knicks in 5. This is our year. The city is going to be on fire. I'm going to the parade, period. Even if I gotta strap that baby to my back like one of them African ladies going to get water, we going to the parade. Okay?
Yo, this weekend is so lit in general. Today, obviously, we have the final game of the finals, and Knicks are going to bring home that championship there in San Antonio. And thank God for that, because Brooklyn is lit up because, Haiti is inside the World Cup, and it's a big game tonight as well. So it's going to be a real switching and back and forth. And then tomorrow is the Puerto Rican Day Parade. So New York is really, yes, it's about to be like, it's a little too ding that ain't. It's gonna be like just a celebration. I feel like as soon as you walk outside, it's gonna be all types of music playing. It's the multicultural aspect of New York, especially Brooklyn. And I think I'm lit up on the vibe more than anything else.
Right. And it's a big time in New York City in general. Like you said, I forgot the Puerto Rican parade. We got Brooklyn Pride this weekend because each borough does its own pride. Pride is this month. That is like one of the biggest parades in the world. So to have a parade potentially, we know they like to cheat. So, fingers crossed. But, I always try to tell you it's bigger than not cannabis, but bigger than basketball. It's bigger than cannabis too, because it's like New York blue against the cheating Red Devils of the South, Texas. They got three basketball teams, 2 football teams, but none of their kids can read. They don't have universal health care or child care. So, for me, it's bigger than basketball. It's bigger than cannabis too, because we actually going to take our first hot topic to Texas. I know y'all like, what kind of cannabis they got? Not much. Let's talk about it.
Yo, talk about read. You definitely read in Texas for filth and the U.S. South. And you're not wrong about a lot of things, especially what's going on in Texas. So what's the deal?
Period. You know me. Shout out to Dr. Candace Matthews from Houston, Texas, because she reminded me we got to always read it to the folks from the top and demand accountability. And she's demanding a lot of accountability. She don't know nothing about that cannabis accountability, clearly, because, baby, Texas was known for its hemp THC products actually becoming an industry, becoming a market, a tax revenue resource. Well, this year, that has all been changing. As y'all know, this season, we've been on the ground there talking about how they've been changing the laws for hemp THC, which is basically, THC cannabinoids that come from the hemp plant, as Dasheeda likes to tell me. And she's going to break down the science to y'all because I think we're forgetting a big part of that with some of these laws. Well, this industry that they just started because of the hemp farm bill is now being back on the shackles and chains because the hemp smokable ban, it got lifted. They were on pause. The stuff was back on shelves. Well, they ended up going back June 5th to their 15th Court of Appeals. Goodness gracious, they got too many appeals. Where basically the injunction to ban smokable hemp being lifted got back. How that happened, I don't know. I guess everybody was focused on the Carmelo Anthony case, that these people got to slip and slide doing whatever they wanted. And so basically they back to banning THC, hemp, and the drinks, the flowers, the concentrates, and their licensing cost is back to what it was. So originally the licensing cost was about $150 to be a licensed retailer. It's now $5,000, but you can't have none of the products that they have. And then the manufacturing was $250. It's now back to $10,000. So all this stuff that they've been fighting and keeping under control ended up getting right back to what it was at the beginning of the year.
Well, it was just a temporary injunction on ruling. And so in that case, it was always at the disadvantage of the operators who got that put on hold. But it is very frustrating to hear the way even the media is reporting on this, the way they're talking about THC, and like they refer to things like Delta 9, like Delta 9 and THC don't go together because that is the molecular structure. And it's really referencing where with the carbon structure. People are wholly confused, and it's because in places like Texas, everybody was basically still trying to sell weed, and they were trying to fool regulators, legislators, and government into believing because it's coming from a hemp plant, somehow it's different. It's all the same cannabinoid. Hemp plants can produce Delta 9 THC, which again is the same THC we've been talking about in weed since the 1930s. Okay, y'all? It's the same THC that's on the Controlled Substances Act. It's the same THC that just got partially rescheduled and now called medical cannabis as if it's different. It is all the same. And what we're doing in these markets is we're confusing people even further. It's so painful to be in the social media and see the comments and people legit arguing about, oh, well, because it was Delta 9 that person had, that's why they were so high. What are you talking about? Delta 9 is what it is. And then the last thing I'll say is this THCA scam. They're talking about THCA, which is, again, the acidic version of Delta 9 THC. They're talking about it like it's not been what we have in bud all the time. It is what needs to be decarboxylated. That A comes off when we want to activate the cannabinoid. People are confusing the science. These type of laws are only making it worse. And oh, by the way, what you just described is how a government starts to take a market away from smaller mom and pop owned businesses and give it away to larger, well-capitalized businesses, increasing the cost of the license in and of itself. And I'm talking about from in the hundreds to 5,000. That's like even a percentage of number I don't even want to calculate. And then decreasing and removing the most popular category of cannabis, which is still flower, in every single state, whether we're talking about hemp, Delta 9 THC, or marijuana, Delta 9 THC. It's frustrating as a consumer. It's frustrating as a scientist. It's frustrating as an advocate. We need a unified approach. I think the federal government is closer to that. And shout out to Dr. Rachel, who wrote a manifesto on why this unified approach to cannabinoid regulation is important, because it's all one genus, it's all one plant. And what we're doing here is continuing to create a hodgepodge of information, misinformation, and legislation across the states. I'm definitely going to be watching Texas, because people really have built a lot of small minority-owned businesses. They've built their whole model on the original version of this hemp framework in Texas. Like you said, a little market, if you will. You can find, a little something when you're out there. But now it's not looking like that's going to be the case.
We're going to have to clip that because social media needs to understand the science too, because they are confused. confused. Okay, I'm tired of arguing in the comments with you people about cannabinoids, medical hemp, regular marijuana. I don't want to. I don't want to argue with y'all. Not when all the seeds look the same too. Okay, as I know because I done popped a few. So
Yes.
it is it's really confusing, and I think you definitely pointed it out. And then the THCA, like, we need to just get that on a t-shirt. THCA is THC lit up, okay, because we're confused.
Before you light it. It's the bud. So they're calling THCA flower like it's something new. All flower, it has majority THCA because we haven't burnt it yet. We haven't decarboxylated it. And I think that that's the part where it's just like, what are y'all talking about? All just to confuse a few legislators. Real talk. It is very money hungry and it is a disrespect to the plant. If you're a cultivator, if you really know, and it's really confusing consumers, and people are literally arguing with Twitter fingers about stuff that's just not even true.
Exactly. Well, Texas is going to Texas, and
I think
they
that's
still.
true.
Yes, we know Texas is going to Texas. We know that court system is, up and down, round and round, but there is still a case that is trying to go before the court that is a broader lawsuit with everything. So, the fight's not over, but if I was y'all already know how I feel about Texas in the South. If I was y'all, I would pack up shop and get out. Okay, period. That's why all the people that left during COVID to go from California to Texas is leaving Texas to go back to Cali because they rather risk a tsunami than the whatever they got going down there.
Not Susami. Oh my God, girl.
Well,
Anyway.
period. And if y'all like what we talking about, always drop a comment in the chat. We love the Twitter fingers because we got some too. And if you're listening wherever you hear your podcast, make sure you leave us 5 stars because we deserve it. So let's get into this hot topic number 2 because we are getting out of here. We got to go prepare. So, hot topic number 2 is, I don't know why everyone's attacking hemp THC. What did we do? What did hemp THC do to you? Illinois, come to the front, okay? Because we got some questions, and we're going to ask the governor why he done go ahead and signed this bill to give all of these new possession limits for people. If you're a resident, because Illinois is one of those states where it's like residents could do something different than non-residents with their legal cannabis industry, okay? But we're trying to figure out why you done signed this bill giving people up to 60 grams of marijuana, 21 years old. That's not even a lot of marijuana, let's be honest.
Just
60
over 2 hours.
grams? Come on.
Mhm.
That's flour. Six,
Mhm.
like, that is not that much, but
It's just
whatever.
over
And
2 hours.
then, I mean, it's not. It is just like you could have 60 grams in your house and not even know it in one plant. And then they're also that's doubled. And then they're also allowing up to 10 grams of cannabis concentrates. This is a really cool one though. Their infused products can go up to 1,000 milligrams of THC. That's gonna be fun. Good
In a
luck.
one package, or just that you could buy in a day?
You could buy that.
Okay. So
I
that
think they
means,
still it doesn't really go as specific as each product can be up to 1,000 milligrams. But my thought is that if they have like a new limit, now the regulations would allow maybe more THC in one product because I think they're similar to a lot of states, only 100 milligrams of THC per infused product.
yeah, I think that that's the safety of it, so that just in case someone ingests one whole, candy bar, for example, that has 100 milligrams, they're not going to do too much. But basically, with 1,000 milligrams as the like big thing that you could buy for the day, that means you could buy 10 of those bars that are 100 milligrams. I mean, I think it's good if you're moving stuff in the right direction. But you asked, what did hemp do? Hemp got banned at the federal level. Hemp is about to be a Schedule 1. Hemp about to be weed again, right? And this is something that a lot of people are fighting against. And each state is starting to look at it very differently. I'm actually surprised about the hemp decision in Illinois, because it's more like something Indiana would do, actually, in terms of just how quickly they're responding to potentially what the federal government is about to do. And I think that is telling of where we're headed at this moment, because I really feel like, again, with the partial federal rescheduling, we've now got a spotlight on this medical cannabis, even though it's all really, it's all the same plant. And I don't know how many times we have to say that. So for us to see a governor increase the amount you could possess on the marijuana side, but then put restrictions around the products and things on the hemp derived side, is clearly showing that we're still creating legislation that's not based in science. And it's unfortunate because it's definitely going to cause impact on the business side.
Yes, it is. And I think you did bring up a good point. I did forget that the federal government did a whole bunch of hemp rescheduling because I guess they felt like the hemp market was getting out of hand. Especially because we have so much other stuff to worry about in America. Who really wants to sit and fine tooth hemp? They can't even tell the difference from marijuana.
It's interesting because it's Goliath fighting against Goliath. And I said this in a previous episode. Big hemp is out of Kentucky, and it's still largely white and male dominated, as is the marijuana side of things. And what's happening is hemp beverages in particular have really infiltrated and taken over a large percentage of the share in the alcohol and wine area. And so we got big alcohol, wanting to kind of get that under control and also figure out where they're going to have their carve out. Much like I think Big Pharma is also trying to figure out where their carve out is in the federal rescheduling or the partial rescheduling. At the end of the day, big money is trying to figure out their carve outs for multiple billion-dollar industries that are separate, by the way, and imagined together is now a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And globally, it absolutely is when we throw in places like China, the largest producer of hemp. So it's like we're literally watching the clash of the titans, and they don't give a F what we're doing in terms of equity and small business and all the other dynamics that we've been working for and towards. This has all been handled at the federal level because of money, not so much of fear, although they use fear as a tactic. I would clip that because that's the strategy, that's the board, that's what we're playing against right now. We're watching Goliaths fight each other like Trulieve and Curaleaf race to get uplisted with not a care in the world about what efforts we're making, because right now we're on, I don't want to say the losing team, but we're at a real disadvantage with some of the maneuvers and the administration at the federal level.
Period. And that's in cannabis, and it seems like in a lot of other things with the federal government, but that is for a different podcast.
Yes.
But I'm just saying. But it is recriminalizing hemp THC. And so right now, what is going to happen when it takes effect in November is that hemp THC products with more than 0.04 milligrams of THC per container is now banned.
Which is essentially the entire hemp beverage market, right? Those are 5 milligram products, 10 milligram products. We have a lot of Delta 8 products that there are states that really fully accepted it and embraced it and still exist, like Minnesota. And there are some that ban that. And so they're cleaning up that as well, because hemp derived products have really shown what you can do in a lab with CBD isolate, right? That's really been the lesson of the last 3-4 years. And you can make every cannabinoid essentially. And of course you're making it in an isolate as well, and then translating it into a distillate. It's like the further away you go, you're getting further away from a whole plant experience, which means you can have a much higher likelihood of an adverse reaction. And guess who's going to get blamed? The plant. Meanwhile, it's a Frankenstein's kind of lab making the products. It's two different things there. I will give you that. But at the end of the day, it is still the same cannabinoid. But I think our pharmaceutical industry knows very well what it looks like to isolate something like an opioid and decide using a bell curve how they're going to dose a population. Sometimes you give people too little and their pain is so much that they tend to take more, and then that ability to get addicted and have a real significant dependence becomes a thing. And sometimes because people are don't need as much, they have a different way of their pain management, you may give them too much, and that can also lead to an addiction. And so at the end of the day, is no one size fits all for pain management endocannabinoid system. The plant is probably in this whole format is probably the best way to really ingest it and take it so that it can give your body what it needs and your body discards what it doesn't. But when we have it in an isolated or distillate form, you don't give your body a choice. It's like, oh, you blasting it with CBD or you're blasting it with THC versus a little bit more of a delicate painting of a chemovar that has all of these different cannabinoids dancing together in entourage, in ensemble, whatever word you want to use to make it sound good, but they're working together. And that's missing. And I'm sorry. I feel like that's where I want to be clear. The hemp industry has shown us what it looks like when you do that for money as opposed to for medicine.
Yes, because there is a big difference from full spectrum versus isolate, as we have talked about in previous episodes, and we're gonna deep dive into it on the second half of the season. And as a reminder, we black, so we're gonna take Juneteenth off, and we a little LGBTQA and queer pride, whatever. So we're gonna take the rest of the month off. We gotta get ready for our tour, and then we'll be back in action. So make sure you're caught on catching all up on our YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Yes, we are definitely raising all flags over here. So I'm appreciated and looking forward to the break. But I can't believe we got to 13 episodes for season 7 so quickly. I just also want to remind everybody that if you get a chance, you should also be following me on Instagram, the Weedhead Co, all one word. And yeah, we've got a lot of announcements. You know, I got my tour coming up, the State of Flower tour. We got 10 states we're headed to, and we are going to be dropping those dates and those locations in the next week. I'm real excited.
I am something. I don't know if excited is the word, but I definitely know the work's got to be done, period. And so one thing about it, and two things for sure, us Dawson girls, we're going to get it done.
Hey.
And what else needs to get done is what Ohio has done to fight back against all this hemp THC ban. So join us for hot topic number 3, because Ohio said y'all over here running cartels, giving these officials all this money, and y'all banning our products. Not today, cheeks. Well, they done took the people and did a whole lawsuit. More than I want to say 10 hemp THC companies in Ohio have sued their officials. They started a lawsuit because the new restrictions that Ohio proposed basically eliminates the hemp THC industry, period.
Of course. Well,
so basically, no, he's laughing so loud. So basically, hemp THC ban is also a 0.4 milligrams or less to create hemp, and it's banned anything more. So that means your smokable hemp, your drinks, your infused products for skin. If it has more than 0.4 milligrams of THC, it's not happening. And so it was basically saying that anything more than 0.4 is all supposed to be under licensed marijuana retailers. Now, why that is such a big deal is because we talked about it in previous episodes. Ohio is ran like the cartel, allegedly, and there is a lawsuit against that as well, because it is only a capped number of licenses. Most of the licenses are big multi-state operators, and they don't know when they're opening up their licensing like applications or whatever. So the hemp THC industry is kind of how a lot of mom and pop and everyday people in Ohio had been getting into the industry, especially because, let's be clear, they're the ones who advocated for there to be an industry. I think
Mhm.
there are a lot of states that forget, because of the hemp farm bill, allowed for illegal adult use cannabis to fast track in a lot of these states, like Ohio, like Illinois, like a Minnesota, New York,
Mhm.
New Jersey. Being able to say we have hemp products, which is still cannabis, help move adult use industries further. They also said that because of this, it basically makes hemp THC illegal as soon as you step into Ohio. And they're fighting back. So they just filed the lawsuit. We're going to keep our eyes and ears on the ground as we hear more. But this is what you got to do, people. Texas, Illinois, and any other state out there.
I agree. It's all about coalition and litigation, and that has been what has been used against states when they're trying to implement equity and small business initiatives, right? And I think that's the only way that you're going to keep that playing field even available. Now, I'm not going to even say level because it's not a level playing field. I think it's interesting also in Ohio that you have Ohio hemp companies suing the state, but the state regulators are suing the marijuana licensees. And so it's just interesting how just jacked up this whole, it's like you got a terrible family. Essentially you got a dang on toxic family of cannabis regulation and state oversight, and all while doing that they've also recriminalized in Ohio public consumption is essentially a crime. And even having cannabis in your car, just even unopened, it's really unfortunate to see all the work that went into Ohio, which is the neighboring state to, Pennsylvania. It's easy to get to from some of Maryland and some of the states that have done some work on equity conversations and small business ownership conversations, but it's kind of still going to the big Goliath at this point. We'll see how both of those lawsuits fare, because it is because of those big cartel-ish acting allegedly companies. It is the reason that the hemp, industry is being shrunk. And it's like they're the reason for a lot of things, home grow and just a whole bunch of other things that really prevent access. I want to shout out Kat Packer, who is also one of my co-founders of the Cannabis Regulators of Color Coalition. She's also a director for Drug Policy Alliance, who attended a conference this weekend. And she basically, in front of the lobbyists and lawyers for these big old companies, said and named them like, these are the companies that we need to be holding accountable and continuing to go after them for this type of activity. She also happens to be an Ohio resident, so she knows firsthand as well what type of fight that they're in and how much they control the market. Price points, like this is for price fixing, and that to me is like the most mobster thing you can do at this point for cannabis. So.
This is definitely a interesting state we're going to have to follow. I mean, who knew so much tea came out of Ohio? Not me. I mean, I know I live in the best city in the world, so it's hard to even look at other cities for anything, but that's okay. I'm just kidding, but not.
You are
Um
hilarious.
I'm just saying,
And you're
like,
like, back
oh,
to a high of the week.
I know, right? Like
Knicks
we're
is hot.
we're in the finals, we're in the championships. Like, what are you talking about? Like, don't talk to us, okay, about
Right.
nothing. But and we also got some of the best cannabis laws in this America too, okay? Because guess
Yes,
what? Wherever
true.
you smoking cigarettes, you smoking a joint too, okay?
Yes, yes,
Period.
yes.
Period. So, like, I don't know what to tell you.
We gotta light it up for the Knicks. Gotta light it up for the
Okay,
Knicks.
we sparking it up. Remember, at the beginning of the finals, I was smoking Burnson breath. Okay, that was named after that dude, Jalen Burnson.
That's
Just,
true. That's true.
but I,
Well,
ultimately, though, seriously, Ohio, you guys step your cookies up. Y'all got to do better. I'm happy to see that hemp THC companies are suing them, because it is a monopolized industry at the moment. And so if the only way their products are able to be for the people is through marijuana retailers, then they're not going to be able to have these products, period.
right. Yep.
And we got to be more realistic about it, and we got to be litigious, like you said.
And we got to figure out how to get unified. It should be somewhere in the middle, likely. I would say closer to the hemp side of things. We have wholly over regulated marijuana. There are still states, and Ohio is kind of one of those states where the security plan and all the things that are required in a dispensary or in a cultivation is like basically incarcerating the plant, literally creating a jail for the plant. We don't need all of that. I think we've proven that through over a decade of adult use since Colorado and over 30 years since California. I think we've proven we're not zombies. We can actually do this well. And it's actually the government that is getting in the way of things and big capitalism that's getting in the way of things. And we need to center the consumer or the patient again, which was the point of legalizing in California. So, yeah, I'm interested in old strains and old beliefs and thoughts around why we legalize cannabis to begin with, because what we're dealing with right now, this race to the top of the food chain, if you will, is not at all caring about consumers. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox. I know I could talk all day about that stuff, but I think it's just important that we call a spade, and we also make sure we call a hemp, a marijuana, a medical cannabis, and all of the things, because all one plant.
I think we're gonna have to bring out Dasheeda the scientist for the next couple of episodes when we come back from break, because really we are watching people tell us there is a legitimate difference from adult use cannabis and medical cannabis, hemp THC versus regular THC, and it is confusing me. It is confusing the people, and you're literally a scientist, like legitimately, and so we do need some science, some real science, not the bro made up science back. And yeah, bring Chem 99 back too. I don't know.
Yes, I mean, that part. Anyway, I am very excited to watch a few games today. Go Knicks, go Haiti, and I'm really just excited to celebrate New York overall this weekend. It's gonna be loud outside. We're gonna have fireworks. People gonna be up in the air. It's gonna be a party. I'm gonna be partying from inside because I'm on baby duty.
Yes, yes. I'm gonna be outside. I don't have much Nick's stuff, but I got a couple blue outfits, and so I'm gonna go enjoy myself. But yes, you are right. I appreciate you so much, Dasheeda. We will be kicking off the tour in July. But you got a couple events pre-tour as well that you'll be talking about on your social media. And just a reminder, you guys, we are taking a couple weeks off. I know people are coming in the chat, right? We are taking a couple weeks off just to get ourselves together for the tour and celebrate Juneteenth and Pride in all the styles, okay, and the Knicks, duh. So make sure you're following us along at the We Head Co. and at she_blaze, and you click on to the wehead.com. We're back live. Yes, we got our website back. And we don't have a banner
Yay.
yet, but we do have our website, thewehead.com. Back there, you can see our live tour, our pre-sale of the books, and you'll start to be able to see clips of She Blaze on there again on our blog. Yay. So make sure you're following along, and I'll see you soon, sis.
All right. Have a great week, y'all. Bye.
Bye.